The saying, "Turn your hand, make fashion," is a true depiction of Jamaica as it speaks to our citizens' resilience, authenticity and vibrance, especially in our COVID-19 recovery efforts. And nowhere is that buoyance being felt more than in the tourism sector, which has had a bumper summer with record stopover arrivals. On today's edition of Jamaica Magazine, we have an adventure awaiting you that's steeped in culture and hospitality, plus a cautionary tale on the misuse of weapons. Hi there, I'm Adrian Atkinson, your tour guide for this Thursday edition of Jamaica Magazine. Welcome.
The tinting of your windscreen, cut it out. Public passenger vehicles, according to the Transport Authority Act, not supposed to have tints. I'm appealing to motorists out there. We have removed many plates because of fandangles that are on the motor vehicle. Colorful lights, red light, purple light, blue light, and these multicolored lights. Get them off. I've noticed some trends out there where there is different type of license plates on motor vehicles. Only the Jamaican issued driver's license plates are to be on the motor vehicles. Once you transport any passenger in a motor vehicle, ensure that they are buckled, whether they are on the front or they are on the back. The seatbelt gives people a fighting chance to survive the crash. Many people have died who never give themselves a fighting chance.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, October 6, 2022. Minister of Constitutional Affairs Marlene Malahou-Fort is assuring Jamaicans that the new Bail Act will strike the right balance between human rights and the island's national security needs. Minister Malahou-Fort made the announcement as she tabled the legislation in Parliament yesterday. She says the bill is designed to modernize the country's law on bail and bring it in line with the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms.
These and other documented peculiarities in our Jamaican society necessitate innovative responses, legislatively and otherwise. Madam Speaker, in our beloved country where we aspire for security and where we value our rights above all, there is no avoiding a balance between freedom and dignity on the one hand and security on the other.
Minister Malahou-Fort adds that though a special provision has been placed in the legislation which denies bail for persons accused of murder, the legislation will not remove the constitutional entitlement that an accused has to bail. The new bail bill will now go before a joint select committee of Parliament for perusal. Still in Parliament Wednesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says 142 farmers have been formally settled on plots of land located in the Greater Bernard Lodge development area. He says the farmers have received more than $650 million from SCJ Holdings. Prime Minister Andrew Holness also revealed that some of the farmers are already operating in the area.
Already, many of the farmers are in full production, with vendors and other persons visiting the farms on a regular basis to purchase produce for retail and domestic use. So, Madam Speaker, we now have a well-structured agro-park that has the potential to become a model for agricultural development in the Caribbean.
Mr. Holness says the SCJ is offsetting the cost of providing irrigation water to farmers in what will be the most comprehensive urban development undertaken by the government of Jamaica.
The cost of land clearance and preparation, farm road construction and rehabilitation, the opening and expansion of stormwater drains, the provision of electricity, and the construction of an irrigation system has also been borne by the SCJ, and work is ongoing. Irrigation water is now provided to farmers via the Rio Cobre Canal system, which cost for the time being is absorbed by the SCJ until the construction of a modern pressurized irrigation system is completed.
Engineering designs on the pressurized irrigation system has already begun. In other news, the eastern section of the Greater Portmore Ponds wastewater treatment plant is now in operation. The $935 million improvement project was commissioned into service recently. The project, undertaken by the National Water Commission (NWC), included upgrading of the pump station, rehabilitation of the ponds, and construction of new reed beds. More than 70,000 residents in the St. Catherine community are expected to benefit from the services offered by the upgraded treatment facility. The wastewater treatment plant will also ensure that Portmore can facilitate the growing demand for development projects. The government says it will continue to invest in the country's sewage management systems as commercial and residential developments continue to increase across the island. The Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs has received approval from the Finance Ministry for the implementation of its organizational structure. Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Wayne O. Robertson, says the structure of core positions has been accepted.
For example, the Permanent Secretary's Office with the police staff. We have also received approval for all the core technical positions. Very importantly, the ones that come to mind off the bat would be the Constitutional Reform Directorate, the Legal Education Directorate. Those are critical. I single out those two because of the body of work that will be required over the coming months and years.
Mr. Robertson says the Constitutional Reform Directorate will focus on the legal change agenda.
We have to take that to wider Jamaica, educate Jamaicans on the reform agenda. We're transitioning from a constitutional monarchy to a republic. What does that entail? How long will it take? Timeline. And the role of the Jamaican people in the process.
The work required to facilitate this process involves the establishment of a constitutional reform committee, which Mr. Robertson says will be done soon. With October being observed globally as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Jamaicans are being encouraged to make regular screening a priority. Member of Parliament for St. Andrew East Rural, Juliet Holness, made the appeal during Tuesday's sitting of Parliament, saying screening must be the preferred approach to identify any form of the disease in its earliest stages.
Cancer, Madam Speaker, is one of the leading causes of death in Jamaica, both for Jamaican men and Jamaican women. Many because they did not know their diagnosis. And so, when we finally know that something is happening, Madam Speaker, it is already too late. So today, Madam Speaker, I encourage all in the House and Jamaicans generally to get educated.
The Jamaica Cancer Society has designated Friday, October 7 as Pink Day. It will be observed under the theme, "Let us stand with our women and our warriors. No one should fight cancer alone. Together, we must fight for tomorrow."
We are not supposed to wait until we see some sign that something is wrong. I encourage all Jamaican women, go out once per year at least and do your screening for breast cancer. It actually saves lives. It has been shown to save lives when we are able to detect early.
And finally, Jamaicans can benefit from government's mobile service fair this Friday at the St. Gabriel Anglican Church in Maypen. The fair, which will begin at 10 a.m., is being organized by the Public Sector Modernization Division within the Office of the Cabinet. It is part of activities to celebrate National Customer Service Week 2022 and Service Excellence. Persons will be able to apply for their passports, birth certificates, and public passenger vehicle (PPV) licenses and benefit from other services such as free blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, and eye checks. Speaking with JIS News recently, modernization specialist Beverly Seaton Bernard says the week provides an opportunity to focus on the range of government services being delivered to customers.
As a public sector, we wanted to also share and bring to the front our service, even as we are speaking about the kind of improvements that is happening in the public sector. We wanted the citizens of Jamaica to become more aware of the changes that are happening and the impact of the work that is happening through the service excellence policy being implemented in the public sector.
Mrs. Bernard says the focus will be on people engagement, which is one of the pillars of the Service Excellence Policy launched by Prime Minister Andrew Holness in July. National Customer Service Week 2022 and Service Excellence will run from October 2 to 8 under the theme Celebrating Service Excellence, Reigniting a Culture of Care. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Living in Jamaica is an experience that you cannot put in words. There's an energy in the atmosphere that just feels good. There are so many aspects of Jamaica that I think makes it second to none. The best food, the best music, the best people. We can go on and on about the good things about living in Jamaica. There's a parish in Jamaica called Portland. I think that's one of my favorite places to be. It's one of the most nature-oriented parishes, and I love the nightlife in Kingston. Once you come here and you get that connection with the people, that connection with the food and the music and just the lifestyle is something that you'll always remember. People should visit Jamaica because I'm sure 100% that it is the place to be on planet Earth. You need to come here and you'll get that experience that you will never forget.
This parish is the birthplace of a beloved national hero. It's home to the second oldest botanical gardens in the Western Hemisphere, and the location which kick-started a movement that's led to the granting of many of the freedoms we hold dear. If you haven't guessed just yet, we are speaking of St. Thomas, which government has earmarked as the next frontier of development on the island. Take a look.
Visions of a coffee trail and a Bath butterfly farm are among a decade-long plan to lure tourists to the parish of St. Thomas. It's being considered as the Pearl of the East. Tapped for its rich culture and unspoiled natural beauty, St. Thomas is forecast as the next tourism frontier. Realizing its potential, the Ministry of Tourism has embarked on an initiative to develop the parish.
The study has been done, the documents are before us. The St. Thomas Destination Development and Management Plan has been completed and will be unveiled within this fiscal year. The plan has identified 51 projects for implementation over the decade to 2030, of which 40 projects will be led by the Ministry of Tourism. It involves so many moving parts that have to come together, and it's a multi-sectoral approach. In other words, it's all hands on deck. The destination assessment of St. Thomas identified that the parish has numerous attractions and places suitable for development of tourist accommodation of various types, which should appeal to a wide cross-section of prospective visitors.
23 priority initiatives have been identified for development. Among these are the Morant Bay Historic District Project. This will involve restoring the historic buildings and monuments in Morant Bay Square in honor of national heroes Paul Bogle and George William Gordon. Further east in the parish, the ministry will seek to establish the Pera Eco Resort Village and Golf Course to feature a marina, super yacht facilities, horseback riding, and other amenities. To ensure that these projects come to fruition, Priority Initiative 23 is to attract investors and implementation partners. The ministry is targeting local and foreign investments to develop infrastructure, tourism attractions, and experiences in St. Thomas.
Its close proximity to Kingston, and especially to the Norman Mann International Airport, suggests that the considerable tourism development is possible there, which will serve as a catalyst for the wider social and economic development of the parish.
The plan speaks to all sectors in the parish benefiting from tourism, providing economic viability in communities beyond Jamaica's traditional resort areas.
We want to introduce our visitors to more community tourism experiences. This increased variety of experience will give the visitor the feeling of having a multi-destination vacation without ever leaving our shores. Our new marketing packages will encourage our visitors to take excursions to local shopping establishments, restaurants, entertainment facilities, and bars. We will also encourage them to wander along our beaches, rivers, or local fishing villages. Critical, in fact, in our shift to increase awareness of our community tourism offering will be a targeted campaign focused on our many cultural and heritage assets. We know that St. Thomas will take some time as we grow. We have to deal with zoning there. We have to deal with a lot of environmental issues that we'll have to settle. There's infrastructure that needs to be developed. Water to be developed in the areas, electricity, and then to look at product development in a big way. Hotels to be built, villas, parks, gardens, and then to really develop in my mind, the signature product for the parish, the bath fountain. Resetting the Jamaican tourism, we'll identify and establish innovative policies, systems, protocols, and standards that assure our visitors a safe, secure, and seamless experience while building out a new national tourism model based on a diversified portfolio of unique and authentic attractions and activities which draw heavily on the Jamaica's natural and cultural assets.
Up next, Finance Matters demystifies the various economic and fiscal policies and initiatives being implemented by the government.
Are you a farmer in need of new equipment? Has your farm been severely affected by the effects of COVID-19? If yes, you might just qualify for a loan under the Development Bank of Jamaica's DBJ's $1 billion Agribiz program. So, if you're a struggling farmer who owns a micro, small or medium-sized enterprise, this episode is for you. But how can you apply? Hi, I'm Shaquille Rochester Shorter and welcome to Finance Matters. Today I will be speaking with Mr. Paul Chin, Manager of Investor Relationships at DBJ, who will tell us more about how you can apply for assistance under DBJ's Agribiz program. Remember to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow the Ministry of Finance on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and LinkedIn to see all the episodes and highlights. Welcome, Mr. Chin. So my first question to you today is, what is DBJ's Agribiz program and how is it expected to operate?
Thanks for having me on your program, Shaquille. So the DBJ's Agribiz program is a program which is developed to assist farmers as well as persons in the agribiz sector to recover, one, from COVID-19 and to assist them in building back better for the future.
So, Mr. Chin, times are hard, farmers are struggling, as we know. But how have DBJ's assistance program been providing grants, if any, or what's the process for doing the loan applications? Okay, so the program itself is comprised of 4 components. One, there is a loan component. There is a technical assistance component, which is geared towards assisting farmers in doing business better. There is also a financial training component, and there is a education component which will provide scholarships for 2 students to attend the College of Agriculture, Science and Education, CASE. All right, so you said there are technical assistance. What kind of technical assistance can we expect? So under the program, persons in agriculture, and we're talking not just farmers now, we're talking persons like agro-processors or distributors of farming supplies, can apply for grants of up to $100,000, which can be used for business plans, financial statements, as well as product formulation, among other things. Okay, so you said that it gives 2 students scholarships to CASE. Is it that these scholarships are part of the grant program that DBJ has?
These scholarships are part of the overall agri-based program. So 4 components: loans, technical assistance, the scholarship program, as well as the financial education component.
Okay, so how can people apply for these grants or loans?
So the loans are applied for through our financial institutions, such as microfinance institutions or approved financial institutions. These are your commercial banks and your credit unions. The grants are applicable or applied for directly through the DBJ or through our partners, which we will announce in the public when the grants are ready.
Okay. When are the grants usually ready?
The grant component of the program is expected to be ready during the last half of this calendar year. So sometime between October to December, those programs will be ready.
So we can look out for grants on DBJ's website during October, November, December.
Yes.
And you said 2 students will be qualified, or 2 students will be able to be granted these scholarships to study at CASE, right?
Yes. The application for those scholarships actually closed on the 16th of September, and the selection process is now underway.
Okay. Persons wanting to apply would have to apply for next year.
Right.
I saw on your social media platform where you have a partnership with RADA. Are you able to tell me about that?
So RADA, as you know, is the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, and RADA has responsibility for everything agriculture in Jamaica. Under the agri-based program, DBJ will be partnering with RADA to provide increased technical assistance to persons selected under the program. So your farmers, persons in agro-processing, as well as persons in distribution can benefit from technical assistance from RADA.
All right, so just to follow up on that question, Mr. Chin, so my grandfather is a farmer. Does he have to be registered with RADA to be qualified for this assistance?
We ask that persons who are going to apply for assistance be, at the very minimum, be registered as a RADA farmer.
All right, so just tell us now before we go, where can we find more information about the agri-based program?
More information can be found on DBJ's website, that's www.dbankjm.com, or our social media pages, that's Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chin, for joining us today and telling us about DBJ's agri-based program. And thank you for joining us on this episode of Finance Matters. Remember to follow us on social media at MOF Jamaica, and tune in next week as we continue to demystify the economic and fiscal policies and initiatives implemented by the government to empower Jamaicans as we chart a path to Jamaica's economic prosperity.
So many wish they could visit our shores. We live where they vacation. Brand Jamaica beckons all from the 4 corners of the earth.
Well, as a Jamaican, I have great pride in selling it. Your pride that you sell Jamaica with is something that it rolls off. Jamaica has so much to offer, and every time I have the privilege of bringing an executive down to Jamaica, an executive from an airline or a tour operator or a travel agency, and you take them across the country, the pride that they said, wow, I can't imagine, especially when it's their first time. Wow, I love this.
Build it. Cherish it. Our wealth is Brand Jamaica.
Mr. President, several countries in Latin America and the Caribbean are facing an epidemic of crime and violence. Since the pandemic and the disruption in education, challenges with mental health are being increasingly expressed in violent ways. The propensity to resolve conflict or cope with social and mental stresses through violence requires a public health response. And Jamaica has not only engaged in global initiatives such as the Partnership to End Violence Against Children, but we have recently empaneled a National Commission on the Prevention of Violence to advise the government on building out an articulated public health and social service response. However, the situation is exponentially complicated and exacerbated by the influx of illegal and unregistered small arms into our country. From organized transnational criminal enterprises to street-level gangs to the misguided youth in the inner city, the availability of guns is driving an ever-increasing homicide rate. In the same way that a war on drugs is being prosecuted, in which we have been faithful partners in policing what comes through our waters or leaves our shores, there now must be a war on guns. Jamaica does not manufacture guns, but our population suffers from the effects of widely available guns. The countries that manufacture weapons that are available to the public must implement stronger measures to ensure that those weapons do not end up on the streets and in the hands of people for whom they were not intended. In the same way that there is a concern about illegal drugs on the streets of the rich countries, there must be concern about guns on the streets of developing countries like Jamaica.
Born in Stony Gut, St. Thomas in the 1820s, he suffered as a slave. He toiled in the hot sun working and praying for the day he could say, "Yes, freedom come." And when that day came, the day he was free, the plan of becoming fully independent was his next feat. One he accomplished, small farmer, then landowner, to being one of 106 persons on the voters list, he was well on his way. So much so, he became a Baptist deacon in the village, a true Jamaican activist, angered by the injustices and oppression faced by the people in St. Thomas by one Governor Edward Eyre. So, he gathered his people and marched onward they did, left, right, on October 11, 1865, the day of the Morant Bay Rebellion. Over 500 people died, but not in vain. That special day spurred changes in the social and economic conditions of people not only in St. Thomas, but the entire Jamaica. The Right Excellent Paul Bogle, the man who lived and died for his people on October 24, 1865. A man of honor, a man of truth, our national hero.
Keeping you in the know is our business, so be sure to find this and other Jamaica Magazine programs at jis.gov.jm. We'd love to hear from you, so email us, jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. We return tomorrow right here on the station with another informative episode packaged just for you. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson, thanking you so much for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.